recording. Let me go ahead. Mother, when I have to put got it. Did you guys get that too? When we start recording, Zoom's like, we'd like you to know you're on film now. For legal reasons, I'm sure. As always, I'm Brian Kynes, the
This call
creator.
may be recorded for your training purposes.
Right. The creator of the Tales of Ulran campaign setting. We use a multitude of different tabletop role-playing game systems to create our own system that we use and we're building currently called the Tales of Ulran 2.0. We use all these different systems to tell our story, and the awesome folks that are joining me after Thanksgiving and on a Sunday afternoon are here to help me write this story one chapter at a time. Whew, I got through that. That was a lot. Let's go ahead and do introductions as always. Mr. Keaton, you're up.
I'll be playing Rook for the first time in about a month.
Yes.
Hopefully I'm not too rusty on the matter.
Nicely done. Bella, go ahead.
I am Belle, and I play as Sarah, the dancer, who I think is currently disguised as a halfling.
Yes.
So,
Yes. And last but certainly not least, Mr. Mobley, please.
I'm Colby. I'm playing Aresin, who is a dragon and who is definitely getting more PTSD after this.
Yes, guarantee it. I know we keep on trying to make these things cute for Bella, but it's a hard sell for me. She's wanting to take one home. She's wanting to chia pet this thing. She's wanting to do it right, you know. And I'm just, she's got options. It could happen, but it's not going to be easy.
What? If they had like a loving environment.
Is that what you're saying? That these little creatures are yes abominations in a no environment? Is that what you're trying to tell us?
There could be hope for them. That's what I'm saying.
I like that. I do. I think that's the cup half full way to go. Even if the cup half full is full of stagnant water with these things floating upside down in it, it works. I get it. I get it. So, having revisited that idea, let's go ahead and go back to our battle map. And you're going to say, Brian, why is there a window cut out of the middle of the fog? And I would say, well, what has happened is someone, Colby, do you want to explain why this looks this way and what you made me do?
Yeah, so he decided that to give us a better view of the creature, he was going to use one of his monk abilities and basically make all that fog disappear in that spot.
Right, and we looked at it, and the fog does not disappear in a circle, nor does it fade. It gets rid of it in a cube. Yep. So that's what we have. And I'm super proud of the progress. I just got to decide how to put it back if it goes away. I just cut out a big old cube of fog. This ain't Foundry or anything. This is just me with Photoshop. So, real world problems of real world solutions is all I can say. You'll notice that
you got it. You just Control Z a handful of times.
I know. Right? That's it. Just keep.
You might have to redo a few things, but
yeah, everyone like flies across the screen. And it's like, dude, that was like 2 episodes ago. But you'll notice that there's a puddle of green stuff here. That is wine that has spilt. That Mr. McGuffey has mentioned multiple times that could be flammable. Right? You'll notice that it says right here that this creature is prone. I didn't feel like laying it down on its side. That would have been silly. But it is prone. And we also noticed that it has been hexed. And those things are on this creature. So we are saying that Rook was in charge of the hex and the nature of the hex. Now, I remember you saying it did extra damage to it when you're able to hit it. That's one part of that, I believe. But I will leave it for you to decide what ability score it, or what kind of saving throw it is hexed, what it has ill favor on, you should say.
Given its size, I'm going to go with strength, just because I remember that thing getting a hold of
Arson.
Arson before.
Yeah, that was ugly, dude.
Need
I mean,
to
it
make sure
really,
that
it really.
he can get rid of that, get past that strength save.
Okay, so I like that. So, please write that down. Help your game crafter out, and I will be thankful for that when it comes to that. So
Absolutely. What stat did I choose again?
strength. Why I submit myself to this bullshit? I don't understand. For your fun, for your enjoyment. It's for your
Because you
enjoyment.
love us, Brian.
That's what it is. You know what? Yeah, I can't fight it. I can't
It's the
fight this
season for giving
feeling
or what have you.
anymore. Nice. Okay. So, I'm looking through here and I've got an initiative order. And I have not went back and reviewed the last episode because they're real people with real needs. You know? And I just recently released episode 15. I believe this will be episode 18. So I'm a couple episodes behind because full-time work, jobs, real life, all that good shit. So the only thing I can imagine doing right now is either everyone doing initiative over again or keeping with the rotation that I have down here. What would you guys like to do? Do you want your chance to better your situation and do some new rolls because we're in the middle of a combat here? Or do you want me to continue with what I have written on paper? I will leave it to you all.
I say go with the flow.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Colby, I will have you rolling for Finn tonight because I don't have you do that very often, and that's going to be fun. So, what we typically do when folks aren't around is we do a 1d20 on their turn. 20 is they get to do some really, really cool shit. 1 is they literally pass out because they forget how to breathe. They skip their turn. So, Finn was at the top of the round. Let me make sure I've got everything in its thing. I think we're good here. Okay. That's number 4 there. Yes. I don't remember anything else happening to some of these creatures involved. Of course, to remind you where you're at, Azara, I think you were doing like firebolt or something, and you were back here. Mind you, these shrubs were only like 3.5, 4 foot tall. They were made by halfling folk. They're not here to create a mystery in an unsolvable labyrinth. They're here for decor purposes. This is feng shui. Feng shui. So Arson was in front here. Finn had, I think, jumped up onto the barrels or was in the shrubs behind the barrels. I can't remember. And Rook, you were still, I think he still had you enlarged, didn't he?
I believe so. I haven't
Okay,
had any
now,
reason to believe otherwise.
well, let me ask you this. We did Moonbeam, and mind you, sometimes when I'm just throwing shit out there for people, sometimes things are like, that makes no sense. If you're, are you concentration, is he got to concentrate on you for enlarge?
I believe so. Let me look.
Okay, and if that's the case, I think Moonbeam is also concentration.
It is. Both of them are concentration spells.
So can't do
So
that
I would no
until you
longer
have.
be enlarged.
Right. Well, I can roll it. I'm gonna roll 1d20. 1 through 10, you're still enlarged. 11 through 20, and he focuses on the Moonbeam. We good with that?
Mm-hmm.
Moonbeam it is. You are your average sized hero now. I apologize, bud. I know it was a dream. You had to have some fun.
I managed exactly what I wanted to with it. So cool.
Right.
I
Okay.
Donkey Konged a barrel.
You did, which was awesome. I forgot about that.
I shot putted a plant creature. I'm good.
Yeah.
Dream has been lived.
Let's move you around here and get you somehow back to a normal shape.
I touched the clouds, if only for a moment.
God. Let's see here if we can get this right. The reason why I normally could zoom right in on you, but this big field that I'm using to move your character size around is because you have a lot of special effects in your subfolders, and they
Mm.
take up a lot more room than you do. So I've got to move this big thing around. We'll make you a little bit taller than that, and it'll work out, I think, pretty good. Okay, we're gonna say that works, and you're back. Regular size. Let's move you around here to where you were. Okay. So Finn. Last question. Arson, is this concentration for you to have moved these winds back and done this the way you've done this?
I don't think so.
Okay. So, unfortunately, I need to look at my weather effects here because that might begin the disbursement of all this fog and clouds in this area since you've started in that. I'm going to roll some dice the next turn and see if it starts to do that. Okay, so top of the turn, the order we're going to have Finn, Azara. Hold on here for a minute. No. I'm looking at this backwards. Let me make sure I've got this right. Okay, just 1 second. I was looking at the wrong numbers. These are in a different order than I had planned. Ho-ho. Rook was first. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, it's not concentration. We're good.
Okay. Where's 5? 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, okay. Rook, you are going to be first, and then next we're going to move into some enemies. The next person to go after that will be Arson. So, Rook, beginning of your turn, you've powered down a little bit, sir. And it is, you're able to see that this thing is in peril, hexed, prone, and not covered by the shade at all. You have, this little guy was munching on you, wasn't he?
I thought that was the one that I slammed into the barrels.
Possibly
Yes.
so. I don't think you. Yeah, he's
Because
not.
I remember I
destroyed.
went to reach out for a barrel and he grabbed my arms. I'm like, all right, you little bastard.
Yeah, I
Bah.
remember that. But he's not out, but he is. He is on death's door, Jeremy. He is a withering plant that has not been nurtured by a stoner. He's been sitting in the window without water for a while. He's dry, sir. What are you doing on your turn, buddy? No pressure. And I can move around the camera. Whatever you need to see, you let me know.
How about those?
Since we're doing this, if you change your plan, you go back in initiative order. And if it takes you more than a minute to come up with your game plan, I'm going to knock down your initiative roll. And that could possibly put you somewhere else in the order.
Right. Where's my echo?
Your echo is back here behind you.
Cool.
Because you switched places with it at one point, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. We did determine that my echo doesn't necessarily have to have the same weapon I do, as long as it's a weapon on my person in my repertoire.
I'll allow it.
What
Because, I mean, if it's going to walk and act different than you do, then I guess grabbing a different weapon might be part of that as well. I'm not going to, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because that's a weird thing. Because, magic, what are you going to do?
Right. Yeah, because I think when I summoned it in, I would have had my hand axe.
Okay.
So
Yeah, because you're not puppeteering it. It's not like you're doing shadow creatures and it's mimicking what you're doing, so it's all good.
So I would say it would be an echo of my state at that moment. So it's got the hand axe.
Yeah.
I've got my hand axe. And I do not have any more unleashes. However,
Oh
any of
no,
my
you're out of
attacks,
unleashes. What will you do?
however, I can still have any of my attacks originate from that location. So I am going to have the Echo throw his hand axe.
Okay, what's the range of throwing a hand axe?
2060.
Okay, what are you trying to hit with said hand axe?
Little shit in front of me.
Okay, now I want you to understand it's in front of you, and
Mhm.
you're taller than it.
Oh, yeah,
This-
I'll be doing this number.
Okay, so I'm going to have you use some movement to duck.
Yep.
Okay, 10 foot, just because it's going outside of your turn. Okay, as you duck down, this creature looks up like, huh? And as soon as it does, it's coming like right at it. Like you and your Echo are just sunk up. You know what I mean? It's just coming. So go ahead and roll your attack roll, sir.
22.
A 22 on that creature hits. Let me see if it breaches. I think it might. Let me double check. Yes, it hits and breaches the creature. Do you want to do fast damage variant or do you want to roll it?
Just roll it. I got 8 points of slashing damage.
8 points of slashing damage. Describe to me what this looks like as this severs any connection that this abomination has to what might be considered life.
I'd like to think that this thing is, growling at Rook, and Rook's just like and ducks, and all of a sudden it just sees the smoky likeness of me that much further back with a again spectral looking hand axe, just basically just night wolfed it.
Caca! That's it, and it's done. The creature fades from existence. It is no more. You may continue your turn, sir. What are you doing next?
And with that,
Caca! Yeah.
make sure here is a bonus action. Okay. So I'm going to bring my Echo up next to me.
Got it. Just 1 second. Let me go to Rook. By the way, I talk these things through to help me and also let folks know what I'm doing sometimes. It's helpful. So let me find. Where is your Echo, sir? Just a minute. Where did it go? Oh, Rook 2. Duh. Why didn't I remember that? It's only been a month. Moving it up to you. I get next to you, sir. There you are. It's like your Echo is your shadow. Is your Echo is your shadow? Sure.
I'm going to use the remainder of my speed, which is 10 foot to duck, so 15 foot to get over the hedge and approach the creature.
Okay, your Echo is back behind you.
Mhm.
I know you're not exactly the same size, but, just enjoy the map and all the fruits of my labor. And
Absolutely.
you're wanting to jump over beside the barrels is what we're looking at then, right?
Yeah.
Boom, look at you hiding behind the barrels because we have 3 dimensions. I may not be able to make things the same size, but by God, look, mind blown, right, Bella? All right, so now that you have partial cover just because of for artistic interpretation, what would you like to do with the rest of your turn, Jeremy? Free cover. I mean, come on.
I am going to
You're gonna push the barrels.
toll the dead on the big guy from behind it.
Okay,
It's
and what do
verbal
you?
somatic, so I feel like I could do that just kind of out of sight.
Yes, and what are you targeting him with?
Toll the dead. I need a wisdom saving throw.
I can do that because these creatures, especially that one, is chocked full of wisdom. I think one ate another one earlier. Pretty sure. Yeah, that's what that shows. Okay.
Depends on the situation. In a
Roll your
survival
DC.
setting, that's pretty wise.
I get it. Roll your difficulty. Roll my difficulty for this. Remember how we do that in the Tales of Ulran? roll for the potency of what I need to do.
Is it D20 plus?
With this, when you're throwing a spell, that's an attack roll, and that's the very first spell book on your character sheet in the center. The one to the far right
Is the save DC?
Yeah, so that's when you roll 1d20 and add that modifier to it.
Okay.
You got your. Oh God, what did you do?
The D20 roll plus the DC 28.
Jesus. You got like a 9. Would you get 19?
I got a 14.
14? You got an 11?
Well, hold on, because the modifier is 3, spell attack is 6, save DC 14.
Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize. So, this isn't an attack. This is just the one on. You see, you got the 2 books. You got the one to center your character sheet, then you have the one on the very right. And just what that is on the right side, plus a 1d20, is what you're doing for your DC here.
Hold on here.
Okay.
I think it's. Okay, I got them linked up here.
We're getting there.
8 plus proficiency plus ability modifier.
Okay. So what is that total?
So that total is going to be 8 plus 3 plus 3.
14.
14.
14 plus 14 is 28. Got it. Okay. Even with a decent roll, not going to happen. He fails. What is the effect?
So it is going to be. Has it taken damage?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So that takes it up to 1d12, which I cast at max level. So it'd be 2d12 necrotic damage as the sound of dolorous bells fill the air around it for a moment. So this thing is in a church steeple, and all of a sudden hears the bells of its doom.
Okay, and what kind of damage are we looking at from that?
If the target is missing any of its hit points, it instead takes 2d12 damage. It'd be 1d8, and it goes up to it goes from 1d8 to 1d12 at the first level.
So
where I'm at now, it's up the second tick.
Okay, 6 for each one, because it'd be fast damage variant would be 6 for each d12, right? So 12 total.
Yep.
Necrotic, and it failed by 5 or more, so that gets ramped up 1 more, so it's going to be 7 for each one. Okay, so
14.
14. And does your hex have any kind of effect?
Not on a spell, I don't believe. I believe it only takes effect on melee.
Okay.
Ooh. Yeah, when you hit it with an attack, it deals an additional 1d6 necrotic.
When you do that, and this thing is starting to hear those chimes, and is having that effect, okay? Now, and I'm curious, because I can do this for theatric reasons, but it takes the damage, because it's been hurt already, and it's hearing those chimes and shit like that. Is that just descriptive of the Toll the Dead spell? The wisdom save is what is the damaging effect of it. Okay, I'm with you. With that, you see the petals on the tail begin to wilt to a degree. And as this necrotic damage seems to climb around this creature, you can see it's almost like it's starting to dry up like a husk. Kind of. It has a definite effect on this creature that you weren't exactly expecting. Okay? And it seems to crawl around and throughout it, disassembling it to a degree. It's hanging on, but it's not doing well. It has had a very drastic effect on it. Okay? What are you doing for the rest of your turn? Is that it? Okay. Next up is going to be, let me go ahead and do this one real quick. Okay. Let's go ahead and move to this one. Just 1 second, guys. I'm going to go to a monster here and see if I can find them. With any luck, I can. Maybe I will. Just a minute. There's number 5. Is it nice? Let's go ahead and go. There we go. Got it. Okay. A seedling pops up from behind the bench where this one was at. Okay. And what does it do? Let's see. The creature is down. I need to roll a composure check. And with a natural 20, this seedling's on fire. It is not happy with what's going on here. It sees that this one's down and is looking around to see the cause of this disruption. It is not happy at all with the way that this is progressing. It's going to hop up here, sniff onto these wine bottles. Let's see. Finn's over here on the barrels. You've jumped over the hedge. You're partially covered up by these. With a natural 20, and if that creature being down, let's see how much movement we got here. Let's do this. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. It's going to be about right. It's going to be about right here. Okay. So it comes out 5, 10, plus the dexterity of the creature. Okay. It is going to. I'm trying to decide if a natural 20. I have to check one thing. This could be kamikaze. I have to do one thing to check. Yeah. Oh shit, that's not good. Oh, what's that going to do to you guys? Okay, this creature comes running up to you in this desperate display. It sees its sibling, its partner in hatchling crime over here outside getting fucked up, man. Starting to wither from necrotic. Rolled a 20, looks at you, and just like, nah! Right? It just comes hopping, coming over at you. And when it's doing that, you're starting to hear. Go ahead.
Could I use my reaction once it gets within 10 feet of me to dagger toss? And try to catch it a little off guard.
Jeremy, your reaction does not give you an extra attack on your turn.
Well, that's what the dagger belt's for. The reaction was to be able to chuck the daggers out of the belt up to 3.
Okay. Because I remember that, I will allow you to use your reaction to do that because that's what that item does. Now, does it specify, does it have to be something that's in the middle of attacking you?
It just says you may use your reaction to toss up to 3 daggers from the belt at a creature entering within 10 feet of you.
Okay, so here's the picture. Here's what it looks like. I want you to roll a insight check for me.
Well, that's a natural one.
You don't know what's getting ready to happen here, but it looks pissed off. More fairly upset than you've seen any of these look so far. Even Mama. This one's nuts. And as
it's on fire,
you hear these thundering sounds coming from inside of it. And it's inside. It seems to be moving and popping, almost like a thing of popcorn that's getting ready to be full that you put on the kettle. You're like, I don't want it close to me. So you're getting your dagger belt and you're unsheathing that thing, right? Go ahead and roll your attack roll for that. And let me know what you get.
Okay. So
And at 10 foot away from you, huh?
Yeah.
It's about right here is where it
Yes,
happens.
please. Oh, Lord. I got the dagger belt. I don't have a dagger in my inventory for reference. Daggers are considered finesse weapons, right?
Yes.
2. So that is a +9. And then I'm gonna chuck 3. It's a +9 for the first, and then 8, and then 7.
Okay. Roll your d20. It's almost like releasing a magic missile, but you have to roll for each hit. Yeah.
So that is going to be 9, 10, 11, 12, 24.
Hits and breaches. Keep going.
+8, 19.
Hits. Does not breach. Tell me, and we'll sit. Hold on. 1 hits and breaches. Let me write this down because it's important. 1 hits, but doesn't naturally breach. We have to see if you're able to surpass with the damage of it. Okay. What's the third one do?
The third one is a 15.
15 misses.
16. Sorry. 9 + 7.
16 just hits. So what's the damage of each one of these? That's going to be your determining factor.
To be 1d6 +3.
You could potentially do this. You
Or
rolling them?
1d4 +3.
Okay. Go ahead and roll these. There's a reason.
Okay.
What's the first one?
That is 7 piercing.
That's awesome. What's the second one? These next two are very important.
There's going to be 5 piercing.
Okay. Last one.
The last one is 6 piercing.
Okay. 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 Not bad rolls. When you hit it, the last two were what was important. The first one goes into it. Boom. And you see some of that explosive vapor and some of that smoke start to bellow out of this thing like a race car's getting ready to explode as it's coming right at you. Right, Jeremy? And the next two are just enough damage to be able to break the thing's breaking point because of thick hide. Okay? The first one, the second one hits in it, but you're not quite sure. You see a little bit of glowing from it, a little bit, and when you hit the third time, it pops. Okay? Exploding. The good news is that it explodes 10 foot out from you right before it gets to those wine barrels, which would have been real bad, bud. That's what I was looking at when I was run over, is like, how can I animate that fuckery? Right? I was thinking, he's just coming at you, right? And then all of a sudden, kaboom. I mean, Enel would have been back at the place being like, well, I guess that didn't work out for those guys, huh? You just saw like the mushroom cloud going up from the city. It would have been like, whew, looks like I'm not paying that one. That's good. So that's lucky. I can't tell you how lucky that is. And with that, that creature is no more. Okay. Jeremy. Whoo, buddy. Okay. So, let's see who's next.
It's a good use of those very specific special daggers that I have to have absolutely made for this.
I mean, yeah, now it's going to take you at least a turn to reload that if you have spare daggers to do it. So you're not going to be able to use it again until it's reloaded and ready. This is like...
Oh, it's a belt of 10.
Oh, it has 10 on it. And you can only release 3 per time. Okay.
And we up to 3, yeah. And we determined that they're special daggers. They're made specifically for that belt rather than being just a regular dagger.
Okay. Okay. And then the reload, you'd either have to go back and collect yours, which you may want to do, which is going to be, oh, dude.
Yep.
I got to roll something. 15 through
Might-
20.
might
15
have
through
a
20 we
little
have problems.
shrapnel.
Yeah, that's what I'm at. That's where I'm at, yeah. 15 through 20, we'll see what happens. Nope. 9. You're good. Stuff just goes everywhere. I'll say like a couple stuck in those barrels, and that's what made you realize what was going to happen. It made you go, right? As those daggers fly back out of the puffball, two of them like, and you're just like, oh, this could have been so much worse. It is Arsen's turn, and then it will be Azala's turn. Arsen, shit's getting heavy, sir. Things are happening, but thanks to you, you can see all of it. With this thing laying on its side and hexed and little monsters just going nuts. What are you doing on your turn, buddy?
Okay. So he's gonna rush it.
Ghostbusters, get her. Your whole plan was get her. All right. So, just for the hell of it, roll me a athletics or acrobatics check to. Do you want to just part the hedges like the Red Sea and just go straight through it like a linebacker, or do you want to hop over this? These hedges in front of you is. I guess what I'm asking is, has Rook just stepping over these things made Arsen jealous at all? And how do you choose to go about the halfling barricade here?
It's more the fact that the first one ate him, and he's wanting to attack this one before it has a chance.
Right. So you're going towards this sapling, and are you going to run right through the hedge towards it, or are you going to bound over?
Is Arson about to bite this thing?
I'm waiting to see what happens.
Kind of a bite the dog that bit you kind of deal.
Hair of the dog. Let me know, Arsen. What are you doing?
He's gonna go right through him.
Right through him. Roll me an athletics check. I got a DC in mind.
Oh, that's terrible.
If you get hung up in this, I'm going to laugh. What'd you get?
10.
Okay, so Arsen's like, ugh. And he's like, I'm having enough. And he just goes running, and he takes like one big step, and he runs up to the hedge. He's like, oh, briars, hold on. He works his way through, and then he pops out the other side. He's back at it again. So I'm going to say that 5 foot took you 10 foot of movement. This would be 15 right here. And you see the moonbeam. Now, does moonbeam hurt everybody, or is it selective, Jeremy? Because you see this creature has a shine. A ray of moonlight is emanating and burning this thing. And I just want to make sure that you're not being like, ooh, the turkey's hot. Ooh. You know?
So all it specifies is that when a creature enters the spell's area for the first time on a turn or starts its turn there, it is engulfed by the ghostly flames that cause searing pain.
Okay. So
no different than like fireball. It's this active spell effect.
okay. So understanding this, Arsen, if you had something with reach,
Is
You know
that
what?
effect around it a moon?
yes.
That is fucking awesome.
Thank you for appreciating the small things that I do. See, guys, that's how you get inspiration in my game, is you flatter me for the neat little things that I do. Yes, it is an actual moon, and you're welcome. So, do you want to take a bit of damage to go after this thing, Arsen, or do you have something you want to use to hit this thing at range? I'll say the only reason I'm not going to make you pile drive straight into it is because of your awkwardness getting through the shrubbery. It kind of stopped you from doing like the kamikaze run that the other sapling did at Rook a few minutes ago. I love this. This is so fun.
What sucks is that most of my elementals either either pull it towards me or not, or like it just pushes it away.
I'm going to tell you what my baseball coach told to me one day when I didn't want to slide into the bases. Get a little dirt on you, you pussy. Mind you, I was born in 76. Coaches were a little different back then. I just want to be honest about that.
I mean, my dad told me the same thing.
Made me the man I am, by God.
As mom used to tell me, God made dirt, and dirt don't hurt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your mom was less vulgar than my coach.
I
Colby,
know.
what we doing?
We're gonna do Earth Charm.
Earth Charm.
Tremor.
Earth Trimmer. God, that sounds amazing. Can you please tell me what the hell that does?
It causes a tremor in the ground in a 10-foot radius. Each creature other than you in that area must take a dexterity saving throw on a failsafe. And on a failsafe, a creature takes 1d6 bludgeoning damage and is knocked prone. If the ground in that area is loose earth or stone, it becomes difficult terrain until cleared.
Okay. So, we have a lot of effects going on here. We have wine, we have a moon, we have this stuff. I can add broken earth in a 10-foot circle. But I think the moon's going to shine on top of it. Let's not get crazy. Okay? But I will say that it's already prone. So it's going to have ill favor on this roll to get away from this, which means I only get a 1d10 instead of a 1d20 roll to determine how this is going to go. Okay? And what is the DC? Remember, you roll 1d20 and you add that second book over, the one on the far right side of your character sheet, just underneath your attacks per round section. It shows your weaponry and shit. You got the one book in the middle for attack spell modifier. Then you have the little spell book on the far right side. Add that to 1d20 and tell me what the DC of this is for this creature.
No. 25 with a natural 20.
Okay. This is a critical hit for you. This is actually better than that because it's prone and it's being burned. I rolled a 2 on a 1d10. Plus, it didn't hardly have anything. This was only a 5. Okay? So you trumped it. It lost by 20. This is full damage times 2 to this creature for this. So what was it, a d6?
Yeah.
It's 12 automatic. Okay? And as the ground breaks and it's starting to shake, and the necrotic energy is having a hard time holding this thing together in its weave, and it begins to break apart, and the creature doesn't even look like it has all the functioning qualities of a symbiont creature, a creature that has control over its properties. Now it just looks like an abomination that has been destroyed. Colby, tell me what it looks like. Paint me a picture, buddy.
So he's going to come through that bush frustrated, knowing how he wanted to rush through it and couldn't because he saw the moonlight. So his hands will start to shake, and he will punch the ground in rage, and the ground would just crumble all around him.
That's awesome, buddy. As that happens, the creature starts to fall apart as well, and is quaked apart. And you guys see this go down. Azara, I will, since you were right after him, I will give you a chance to react in some way, whether it just be verbal, physical, or anything, and share your thought as you see Aresin come through the hedges and pull off this feat. And if there's nothing, that's perfectly fine. I just want to give you the chance to do something in this instance, because that's pretty awesome. Pretty neat round of combat.
I mean, as Me, I just think it's so funny the way that you phrase it when it's like man, I didn't get to rush it. Dang it. And then it just,
That's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool.
and I just think that's super cool. She, I think, would be like, almost like, if there was an immediate danger, kind of like the slow clap type thing, golf clap.
Yeah, yeah.
And hopefully the pieces she can gather for her reconstruction.
Okay.
That'll be
So let's go ahead and talk about that. Okay, as you do this, the monster, just for the purposes of this here, okay, seems to dissipate and parts of it seem to fall off that are laid to ruin. Almost like, like it would have been more of an explosion, but this thing crumbled apart and is laying here in a heap on broken earth underneath of what all has happened just now. I'm going to do this just because it's practically gone. And then I'll go ahead and I'll move Finn's thing off here real quick. Just a moment. Oh, come on, Finn. Where are you, buddy? The gang. Finn. And spells. Where are you at, buddy? Is this you right here? No, just a minute. Moon aura. Yes, here we go. And it fades. And by the way, it is a moon, Jeremy, but it's a moon and a rune on top of that too, which shows the spell things that he weaves as he does it. So it is kind of a moon, and I did a moon and then the rune graphed on top of it.
That is insane.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to show me one day how you made that, because I could have used stuff like that in some of my maps.
You can, and I will show you. So once that happens, just for the sake of clarity, we're going to say some of this weather clears up. Okay, folks? The clouds begin to disperse. And for the moment, it appears that you have vanquished the issues that were within this grove. With that one taking a beating, and the other one jumping out from its place of seclusion underneath of the bench. From what you can tell, the threat is gone for now. As this mist that is over this place, this natural cloud cover that has happened, seems to be pushed off from the long-going effects of Aresin's initial spell, which cleared an area. Okay? I'm just leaving this up here for theatrics in case there's something you guys want to do to look. I can always go back to wallpapers. But what would you all like to do now, since we're seemingly out of combat? I will say, have a conversation. I will play the part of Finn and action.
Rook's gonna step out from the barrels. He's gonna look at the two daggers stuck in it and go ahead and pull those out and put those back in his belt. He's gonna kind of peek around the barrels at Finn. It's like, this is becoming a much larger job than I had anticipated.
Finn kind of looks down at one of the barrels, and there's a little bit of the liquid seeping out from where you've unchucked one of those daggers. And he looks back down and casts a simple mending spell on the side of the wood to stop the leaking from happening. As he waves a hand, and you can hear the creaking, and the iron rungs expand a bit. He hops down off the barrels and says to you, as he looks in the distance and looks over to Azara, which is thinking about going to pick these things up, he goes, "That almost ruined every bit of a chance that we could have had of collecting some pieces of this for Wynona and proof of our victory." And when he raises his eyebrow and kind of looks cleverly at the rest of you, he says the word victory with kind of like a question mark, like, is that what we're saying? Is this a win for us? And he's looking for someone else to join him in that. He doesn't know if he considers this a win or not, as he's looks down and he sees a pile of ashes and stuff from that one that just kind of blew apart and shit like that. Anyone else have to say anything there?
Somehow feels a bit too easy.
I'll say you make your way. Are you still standing on this side of the shrubbery, Cesara, just for the hell of it, or do you want to hop over and join everybody else in the center?
I will join everyone in the center.
Okay. So you're over here beside him. And you were going to go over here and start kind of looking in this general area to look through the remains and stuff like that, correct? Okay. So with this, in the way we typically do it, different kinds of creatures require different kinds of checks to see. You've got nature for certain ones, you've got arcana for magical creatures, you've got different stuff. These things are like an arcane abomination. So I will let you choose. You can either do a nature check, or you can do a arcana check or a sleight of hand, because of how frail these pieces seem, because of the necrotic energy and the moonbeam and the burning and all that shit. And you roll that, and I'll tell you what you're able to find. And now, Aresin, before you helped her in this endeavor, when you guys were up north, you helped her kind of look through and do this. Finn is going to see you doing that, and he is going to join in with you too. So any kind of roll you have, Belle, is going to have advantage to it. Okay. Aresin, what are you doing in this moment right before she has to roll?
He's gonna help her out.
Okay.
And Rook's going to stay the hell away and just shout over, "Watch out for the powder. It's not fun."
That's awesome. That's cool. Okay.
I ain't fucking around with that shit again.
No shit, right? I don't blame you. Let me do this real quick.
Giant face from the sky and the
I know, right?
bullshit.
Okay. So go ahead. I'm going to roll. Or Azar, you'll have advantage. And Aresin, what are you wanting? Do you want to do nature? You tell me what you want to do here, and I'll tell you if it works.
While they're doing that, I'd like to scout around for my third dagger.
Okay. In that time, I want you to do an investigation. Okay. Bella, what did you roll with advantage first?
So initially I had rolled a 2, and now I rolled a 13, and I'm doing the sleight of hand, which my dex is +3, which would make it 16.
Yep. Now, don't
And
you have proficiency bonus
proficiency.
also?
Proficiency is +2, so 18 total.
That's pretty good. That's not bad. Aresin
Thank you
is
for your
sorting.
assistance.
Yep. So I will say that Aresin is helping, looking through and identifying the pieces with his help on your roll. And you're able to delicately move them and keep them. And just for theatrics, how are you wanting to keep some of these pieces that you find? In what manner? I'll be generous here to you because, we don't want to get hooked up on the details, but it could matter later. You know what I'm saying? One never knows.
Wait, did we have a break when we were away and came back after she was able to collect parts? Or no?
Nope. You've been here the whole time.
Been here the whole time. Okay.
I think you had a satchel or something you put the original ones in, didn't you? I remember there being a conversation about this.
Yes, I do not recall what the conversation was, though.
I can't.
So,
Jeremy, was it? Did she use a statue, or did she use like one of the urns and stuff that was out here that she found sitting around? For some reason, that rings a bell, but I can't remember exactly. It's been like a month.
Where she placed the creature?
The parts that she was collecting, yes.
Oh, no, she placed the creature in a barrel. I don't know if she put
Oh,
other parts in that same barrel or if she kept it local.
okay. So as you're searching through that, let's just role play this with Finn. And remember, I explained to you that Finn is somewhat melancholy, and he comes off like an elven Spock, kind of like that kind of intelligent, kind of so intelligent sometimes it sounds quirky, and that mystic kind of overtone. That's the way Finn kind of Danny portrays him. So as that happens and you're sorting through, he looks, he goes, anything worth saving, we could simply place in the barrels. If they want their proof, they could always come collect it. It need not bother us or encumber us on our venture back. Yes, but if you see something more refined, something extra, don't hesitate. I can help you contain it as well. Will this work for you?
I think we should just put all of it in a barrel. Just take it all.
He looks down as he moves through some ash and some different withered up vines that are kind of putrid, like he's almost disgusted with it a little bit, like too snobby to touch it, because necrotically aged, and he goes, all of it. Maybe not. He reaches down and he grabs one piece of root as he holds it and starts to inspect it. And as he looks, and he might be doing another mending and stuff, the root itself actually lets off a little, like a low squeal, and starts to curl up and stuff like that, and stuff as he drops it, and looks at it curl up and begin to even die more, and stuff as it's on the ground. Maybe not everything. With you, Rook, what did you roll for looking for your other third dagger? I didn't hear anything, sir. What'd you get?
16.
Can't find it.
Yeah, I figured.
But with a 16, when you were looking through and stuff, I will say, well, no, there's nothing really around there where you'd be doing that. No. No, with a 16, you look around, you look between some barrels, through some of the hedges and stuff like that. You do not see that missing knife anywhere. But you were able to collect 2 of the 3.
In the process of looking, because I'm sure he's close enough, like nobody's whispering that as he's kind of searching through hedges and like got his head stuck in a hedge at this moment, looking around. He just, if we need anything heavy carried, I can take care of it.
Okay. So with that, we know the goals of this place. We were going to try to collect some of those bluer mushrooms to take back with us so they could get a head start on things, to prove that some had survived and had been able to stay here for Enel, as proof that the grove was still functioning. Through your rolls and through that 18 and the help and things like that, I will say you've been able to collect a sample to take back to Enel to prove what you've did and the nature of the creatures. Because, you know, from the description that those 2 workers gave us when we were in the Fighting Spirits, these things were what they were talking about, but they had gotten much worse and grown in a way. So this will be that. This will be good proof of that. And we're going to fill a barrel in this place as some of the remains that they can come and take care of after the fact. Correct? Anyone else want to make any kind of alterations to that plan? And I'm curious, overall, where would you like to store? Which kind of barrel would you like to store all this stuff in? You have the big barrel here near the entrance, and you have a barrel that's down here beside the bench. And those are pretty much your only options right now, as these seem like they still have some wine in them that could be good.
So I think the barrel up by the statue is the one that she's got the creature in.
I
Yeah.
believe so, yeah.
That she said, hey, hang tight, I'm coming back.
Parts of the mama creature, right?
No, that's the creature she plucked out of the pond.
Oh, the one that was still possibly savable.
Yeah, she put it
Okay.
in there to keep it safe for the time being.
Okay, right on. Okay. And we're going to say on your person was evidence of the bigger creature. You and Arson. Arson, I'm going to have you want to write that
I got
down in your
the
inventory?
bag of powder.
Yeah. You have remnants of abominational remnants is what you guys would both have a satchel of. Okay? And there's going to be different pieces. Go ahead.
What I'm thinking is if we could get 2 barrels, one where we put the more necrotic kind of gross bits,
Mhm.
and that will be kind of that sort of like, hey, here's your evidence of the dead creatures, the dead abominations, and then fill the second barrel with all of the more solid parts left over by the little dudes and the big one that I just scavenged from.
Okay.
And then I have the baby sapling floating.
And okay. Was it in wine or water? What was it in?
I think it was in the wine
Okay.
because they react well to it. If I
Correct.
were, yeah.
Correct. That's a very important thing. Okay. So let's do it this way. We're going to call this gardening. Each one of you are going to roll 1d20 plus your proficiency bonus. Okay. Plus nature or whatever you want. You tell me, and then I'm going to do the average of the 3 of your rolls. And that's going to tell me how well you guys are able to clean up the crime scene, so to speak. Okay? So I'll start with you, Colby. Roll me a 1d20 plus your proficiency bonus, or plus a skill you think is relevant in this, and let me know what it is.
I just need proficiency, and it's 12.
12 total. Got it. Okay? Jeremy, 1d20 plus either just your proficiency bonus or a skill you think is relevant for your gardening and your damage control in this particular area. You could be stomping out like Danny's fireballs up at the north and trying to lay the grass back over the way it should be, fixing the shrubs or arson went through, whatever it works, you know.
I'm gonna rock a survival check in
Oh.
that regard.
Okay.
Just kind of taking in how things should be.
What'd you get?
A 22.
22. Whew, my, okay. And Bella, what is Azarda doing? And if you're just dancing, that doesn't help.
I'm gonna make an argument for another sleight of hand check.
Okay, and the reason being is?
Kind of making sure that everything is put in the right place and sort of the fine fixing of details.
Okay, I will do that. You're on. Yes, I get it.
So
You're flipping the leaves over to make them look like. I get you.
I rolled a 9, so that with sleight of hand would be my dex, which is +3, and proficiency, which is +2, so 14.
Okay, so I'll tell you 10, 20, 30, 40, 42, 44, 48 divided by 3 is what, folks? Has anyone got a calculator on them real quick?
What was it? 48 divided by 3?
Yep.
16.
16 beats my DC of 15. You guys are able to manage this crime scene pretty well. as everyone's down there dusting first. Everyone's taking care of their business. You accomplished the things that you wish you did. You didn't do a masterful job, but you did a sufficient job. You don't feel bad about walking away from this. But if your in laws coming over for Thanksgiving, they could probably pick something apart if they really wanted to. It's kind of that vibe. You know what I'm saying? So, with that, Jeremy, you know what to do to get everybody out of here. You've got the flare gun. So, what we're going to do is this: I'm going to pause this and refill my drink. And then when we come back, we'll discuss how we're wanting to get out of here, the ship ride back to the city, or if there's something else you want to do. You guys may decide, hey, we're in the woods. Let's go hunting for caribou. I don't care. It's the Tales of Ulran. We write it one chapter at a time. You guys make it up as we go. It's no big deal. So with that, I'm going to pause recording, and we'll be back here in just a few moments. 3, 2, 1, goodbye. All right, we're back on. Good deal. Warmed up some pizza, got some things together, put some photos of the setup and all that stuff, and Colby was showing off some gifts and whatnot. It's good stuff. So, after all that, let's go ahead and go out of the battle map and go back to our wallpapers. There we go. Okay, now we're back to Theater of the Mind, everybody. Let me save this file here in case we ever need to revisit this area for something else. Who the hell knows what will happen. And then I'll minimize that and get us back to where we need to be. Okay, and then lastly, let me see the battle map here. Come on, talk to me, Goose. Okay, that'll work. Okay, so what is the next step for everybody here? So for the best part, you feel after those rolls that you had, which is an average of 16, 15 was your DC. So you're able to find a certain amount of those purple mushrooms. I want each one of you to roll me a 1d4 and write down the number of purple mushrooms that you were, or blue, sorry, that you were personally able to find during this overall kind of. Got 2 for Bella. What about the rest of you? 4 if it was a competition. Bella lost. What about you? And 3. Man, I tell you what, you guys stop giving her hell for her rolls. You didn't even say anything, and I can just feel the effects of this.
She's so focused on her plant friends. That's why.
If only you know what, that's fine. And I will say,
did Aresin roll for Finn as well?
Yeah. Let's let Bella roll for Finn. That'd be fun. 1d4 plus 1 because he's from the woods.
Not sure if you want that.
I do. Did you get a 1?
I didn't roll yet. I'm giving the opportunity for.
Listen, you got this. You're gonna break the code here. This is gonna happen. So 3 total. Okay, not bad.
I'd argue Bella gets an extra one just because she was so focused on maybe finding an extra one to feed the baby.
Well, I'm going to say her extra time went into taking the care of the baby. So there you go. That's why she didn't care about your mushrooms. Yeah, she's too focused on that.
I did roll a 3, and then he said +1 because he's from the woods.
Yes, 4. It's true. He literally is from a forest, just ripe out of there. So it's all good. Traditionally, a moon-saturated forest, no less. So he had 4 total. Shrooms. Okay, for Finn. Got it. Okay. Keep track of your numbers. It could matter later, of course. So I can narrate through this, or you guys tell me how you want to get Roselia back to you. I'll let you have the steering wheel as long as you want. And when you just need it narrated, let me know where you guys are wanting to go and what the next step is. It is still before midday. Okay? I think you guys left early. She come over here, dropped you off, so I'd say it's still before midday when you find yourself done with your work here. Apparently. So what's the group doing?
Rook's going to do a little bit of recon in the immediate, kind of over the wide area,
Okay.
just to make sure that there's no way any of those things are going to like grow back or anything. Like he wants to make sure if there's anything that even remotely looks like it might sprout into one of those things, he wants to sever the root of it.
Okay.
Make sure it's not a thing.
So, Azara, as Rook is going through like the Grim Reaper, practically going around through here, looking this place over methodically. He goes over to the water where some of those were bobbing up and down and taking care of that. And you guys we've already discussed that there was a root system from that mother that was up to the north of this place that seemed to reach down through and had the ends of its roots into that man-made pond that was there. And then there's bulbs that's formed off the edge of those roots. And when some of them died, they flowed up to the surface, kind of rolled over and were dead as they weren't fully developed. That seems to be the place that Rook centralizes on, as that seems like the breeding ground and birthplace of these once they took control of their own processes. We still don't know how the hell this even started. No one really has an idea, except for you, Azara. You and Finn have decided that there is something archaic about this. This is nothing formed from just nature. Okay, as you would look at those outer walls, it is cold outside here and windy. That shrine in the middle of this grove is the only thing that lets things grow here. So there's no outside influence coming in from around the outside walls of this place. So how did it get here? Originally, I'll give you this. Roll an insight check for me, Jeremy. I just want to narrate this kind of based on how your character does real quick.
22.
22?
I'm hot for the 22s tonight.
You are. You're hot for the 22. What did we say this was, guys? What's the term? We come up with terms for really good rolls and really bad rolls last time we played, and it was funny as hell.
It was lukewarm.
Lukewarm.
Remember we had those.
And there was some kind of water. There was like bath water. And then there was it scorching? Is that what you said, Bella? It was scorching rolls? I'm going to have to look at that episode and see, because it was funny as shit. Yeah. But we still don't know how these things... It just doesn't make any sense how these things got here. We had discussed in the city and those two workers that were telling you the story of how everything come to this place and all those fierce creatures. They painted a picture like these things migrated there because it was a warm place. That's the only way these halfling workers for the Fighting Spirits Winery Meadery could justify or reason that this would have happened. But after looking at these creatures and the way they wilted from Rook's necrotic impact on them, the way the fireball worked on them and stuff like that, there's no way those things came through the cold to get here. Just doesn't make any damn sense. And Rook, you can't help but recognize that.
Yeah, Rook's already got it in his head that these were planted here by competition or something to that effect.
That's interesting.
But Rook's also a very cynical individual and always jumps to worst possible case.
No, and that's
backstabbing is the name of the game, and Rook is good at it.
Right on, yeah. Hell yes. Anybody else have anything to do here before we go do things elsewhere?
I have a weird question.
Yes.
Does magic have signatures at all?
I'm sorry. Say that again. I'm sorry.
Magic having signatures. So it's more of like a maybe a bit of a broader topic, but like
I'm
and the
ready.
magic system overall. And I'm not sure in D&D it's like everybody pulls equally like from the weave and gets their magic. But I'm wondering if it was planted here and the magic system when somebody uses it almost like a signature gets placed on it, then
That's interesting.
with the leftover bits and bobs, we can potentially connect it to a competitor or whoever, but that's a broader world building thing.
I'm going to do this. I want to do this.
Actually, a really neat thought.
Roll me, roll me, because I had this thought when I was driving the other day thinking about this. And I didn't know how to. It's one of those things where I wish I had done something when I didn't. Because you can only do. You can't do everything. You know what I mean? It's like a conversation you have with someone, and then you walk away. It's like, dude, I could have burned them sick if I just known this shit. So I had this thought the other day about something that really works for that. And if I'm not mistaken, when you and Aresin were searching the northern part after Big Mama died, okay, was slain, ripped from the earth, crashed back down to the earth, just violently, just assaulted by you foreigners. I think someone rolled a natural 20, didn't they, when they were going through and picking through all the different stuff? And there were some really good rolls. Yeah, okay.
I got a natural 20 in perception.
I'm going to say this, Zara, that you noticed a thing. I kicked myself in the ass for not doing it because then when I was going back through and editing the episode, I was like, I should have gave him this, and I didn't. Now you bringing that up gives me the chance to just to rectify this situation. So when you were going through and you were trying to retain pieces of this thing to make sense of it, and we talked about the way it was held together, and I won't go through all that again. It was pretty cool. You find something, and I'll let you decide what you did with it. But because you were the one that found this, I would appreciate if you kept this private to just you, as I don't want to do rewrites for too much. If you wanted to bring it up later, you could. But this is kind of a you thing. You have bits and pieces of certain knowledge and have seen some things that no one else in the group has seen before.
Hey Brian.
Yes, what's that?
I'm gonna turn my speaker down so I don't hear this. Just give me a wave when you're done.
Okay. Same with you, Colby. Turn her down. Okay. As you're looking through the remnants and pieces, this don't read my lips. Hold on. As you're looking through, I'm going to do Wilson from the show where I'm like they can't read my lips. Okay. You'll notice that there is a piece of something that doesn't look like it was naturally made. And it kind of resembles, strangely enough, a voodoo doll made out of the bits and pieces of the insides of this creature as if it was resting inside of it. So this looks like to be a piece of a root and a couple dried leaves that makes it look like it almost looks like an action figure of about 6 to 7 inches in size.
Mhm.
There's grapevines that have grown around this naturally with dried up fruit hanging from the side that makes like a satchel. And there is a vestment made of withered up leaves, and you can see different figures on this. I want you to roll me an investigation check to let me know how much I can tell you about this.
Not great.
Go ahead.
Let's see. Investigation is intelligence. 3. It was a 3.
3 total?
3 total.
This is a person that has been formed and crudely crafted, but it's also been grown. Like the grapevines that wrap around and make a belt and make the different pieces of this weren't crafted by hand. This thing grew this way. It's almost like someone wanted to create the image of something and placed it, and it was in the heart of this creature or inside of this creature. It was part of its anatomy, part of its makeup.
So I have an idea regarding the signature magic thing, and I'm wondering if this would be enough evidence for her to take that route.
And there is language written on the main root of this thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a little vest made out of leaves that's on this thing. They're kind of dried up, and you can see some broken things that was carved into this. Like it was almost like someone carved into a tree years ago,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't hardly make out what the words are written, and you're not familiar with the language.
Okay.
But there are archaic symbols carved in the middle of this figurine that was made. And with that, I'm going to wave, and I'm going to say you put that on your person because you weren't sure what to make of this, okay? Now I'm going to bring everybody back in. Okay. Everybody back? Colby, you back?
Colby.
Colby, are you back?
Yep,
Okay. Did you ever turn your shit off?
I did.
Okay. He's lying. That's interesting. I hope that was good.
So I had a thought. So, yay or nay for the thought of the magic signatures?
Uh-huh.
Because here's my thought on it. Of if it's almost like our real world equivalent of like DNA, where like you would need like a specialist with like equipment who can look in and see some identifying marker in the magic DNA equivalent, but that could maybe tie it to a particular person or organization. And with it being so defined as being grown from a root system with inscriptions,
Mm-hmm.
that may set her on that route, because I can't really think of anything else besides going to a whole bunch of magic people and be like,
I will let you pull on that thread if you want to with people in town and see where it goes.
ah,
But I will not because you're not sure if that would lead anywhere or not. If you're asking me to tell you if something like that is alive and well and exists in Ulran, certainly it does. It's been that way for quite a while, but not necessarily that you know anything about it. Maybe you've heard a rumor.
okay.
But there are people you probably could think of to ask that of when you get back to the city.
Okay.
Okay. So, what's everyone doing now? You ready to go? Ready to stay? Ready to walk back? Want to keep pushing on forward for some crazy reason? What are y'all thinking?
After doing all my perimeter checks, that's what I'll be doing is checking with everyone, see if they're ready to rock and roll, have all the materials they want to grab, and get ready. I can start loading the flare gun.
Finn is ready. Finn has the mushrooms he collected. And when you were thinking about some of these things earlier, Azara, you catch Finn staring at you inquisitively as he can see that you're processing something. You're coming up with some kind of plan, and he just kind of curiously looks at you but doesn't show you any kind of emotion on his face. He just catches you in the moment and then looks away and goes to securing his own belongings and goes through a bag of components and is like mumbling and counting things under his breath as he secures his blade on his side. He gives you a head nod, Rook, letting you know that he has fulfilled his need for this place. Arson, what about you?
I mean, he's ready.
Okay. Go ahead and do your thing, sir.
All right.
Shooting her
So,
off.
yeah, buddy.
Okay.
Will the Bella collect creature?
Hmm.
Did Bella collect her creature?
I think it's pickled sapling right now. I think it's still in the barrel, isn't it? Are you leaving it there? Or are you taking it with you?
Of course, I'm taking it with me.
Okay. So.
I am.
Okay.
No,
So.
I think like if she was about to try to take it out, I think Rook could kind of lean over and be like, "I'd wait on that." Which
Oh no, if possible, it is strapped to her body like an oversized baby carrier. It's like
And when you do, and when you grab this thing and quaddle, what's the word you want to do? You want to say? How do you nestle this thing within like some kind of sack or some kind of something? And when you're doing this, uh, can you give me just refresh my memory the description I gave you as to what this thing looks like? I think it was still in its like almost like a cabbage patch. It was kind of still all wrapped up inside, like it hadn't spoiled. Correct? And you saw movement on the inside.
I think so.
Okay, that's the way I'm envisioning this, like a Brussels sprout that seems to have like a little opening of little coils, and you can see things moving around and pushing against the inner walls there once in a
now,
while.
see, now that we're not staring at these things, that sounds adorable.
Well, it's also closed, so you know. Uh, so as you're doing that and you're taking it out of the wine, um, you hear, you can feel a pulse from it, Azara. There's life in this thing, and I'm going to say it's the size of about 1.5 basketballs. It's the size of this cabbage that you have with you, with this pickled cabbage that you have with you currently. That smells like some of the finest wine around.
Mhm.
I'm gonna in the encumbrance from this thing, I'm going to make this relevant. Okay,
Mhm.
it's all good. As you do that, Roselia's eye, the small, uh, just the minute airship comes down in. You can see the wings on the side, which looks like fins on a large fish, or almost like kite-like wings that are blue and silver with red ribbons that hang off the back of them. Adjust for the actual wind, and as it starts to come down, and you can see her fighting through the blowing snow that's coming down between this canyon-like mountain pass. She begins to bring it down. The rope ladder lands just outside of the actual grove entrance, and she hollers something, and you can hear it faintly, but she's giving you the arm up, like come up, and stuff like that, as she's fighting to maintain the airship and the turbulence just above the protective barrier that the grove is provided. Um, how's everybody? Who's first? And just for the hell of it, just roll me a athletics or acrobatics as you go up the ladder. I'm curious how you do.
Rook's
Who's
gonna
going
grab
first and who's going last?
Rook's gonna grab the rope, similar to how he did whenever everybody offloaded. He's
Mm-hmm.
just gonna grab it, wrap it around himself, and brace it to hold it as tight as he can for
Giving
anybody
some
traversing it.
giving some much needed structure to the ladder. Little got it. Okay. Arson, are you first or is Azara?
I'm making Bella go first.
And that's cool because she's carrying something with her. And if she falls, she'll need you to catch her. Acrobatics or athletics, and whenever you're rolling, you take a 1d4 and take off of it because you're carrying a cabbage.
Okay. So I rolled a 13,
Minus 1d4.
1.
12.
Uh,
Not.
and then acrobatics, which is +3, with proficiency, which is +2.
So listen.
Yeah.
Arson, as you're looking up and Azara is headed up the way, and by the way, I'll give you ill favor if you're still like a halfling trying to pull this shit off. Are you transformed back? Because, I mean, look here. You know how I said that was a basketball and a half? To a halfling, it's a little bit bigger. What
No,
are we doing?
it's human Azara.
And I see your true colors. See, well, I'll make it. I'll make it happen. So you're heading up there. You pull this off. She really wants this to happen, guys. I'm just saying, literally the best rolls she's had all game. So, she's like, kiss my ass, Brian. That's all. See, these pouty faces are things the crowd was not privy to until just a couple episodes ago. I thank you. So, Colby, your turn. Athletics or acrobatics?
Natural 20.
I mean, you really climbed that ladder. I mean, wow. I don't know how else to define it. I think it would almost be like you ever see the YouTube videos where the people climb stuff like this with just their hands, but their legs are stuck out because their abs are so amazing. They're just all arms. That's Aresin. The wind's blowing. He's just like, I'm going. And that's what a natural 20 gets you.
Right. Also, offer an addition to that.
Yes.
Does he just entirely surpass Azara? Like, climbing up the side of the ladder,
you know what?
all the way up to the top.
Once he sees that you've got that thing secured, yeah, he would say, if you want to say something sarcastic to her, Aresin, go ahead with your 20.
Nah, he just got like an eyebrow raise, like slow poke.
Yeah, and all you can think of, fucking monks, man. You know, just they do this shit. Rook, go ahead. What are you doing, buddy?
Once everybody's up, I'm gonna follow.
Roll me roll.
Do I get favors since this is kind of my bread and butter?
Yes.
All right, that was athletics, right?
Or an acrobatics.
Yes.
And favor is plus a D10, right?
Yes.
Sweet. So that's 16.
Did you
plus
pass
4,
Aresin?
dirty 20.
Oh no. Okay. I was like, listen, this doesn't have to be a competition. Literally, the best rolls are climbing the ladder at the end of the fight. I love it. I absolutely love it. That.
Just call me a rope monkey.
Mm-hmm.
So, Aresin would be like, freaking sailors.
Freaking sailors, I swear. So you guys have boarded the ship, and Roselia is kind of looking at what you all have accomplished. Her hair's a bit of a mess, but she's maintaining. She's a very strong individual, strong-willed individual, and you can see that the normally pulled back braids and shit that she has her hair in, and her olive complexion of skin and stuff isn't faring the best out here in these elements, as she has some large fur vestige on and some different things wrapped up around her since you guys were down. And she looks at you and she has kind of a shiver, and as she does, a little bit of snow falls out of her hair. She goes, all right then, we're off.
Still on.
And when she goes to get back a hold of the lodestar again, it's cold to her touch, and she takes a rag out and wraps back around her hand and holds on to it because it's hard to actually touch that because of the cold. And she goes, hang on, this is going to be a cold ride back, but I'd like to get this over with.
So, so she got her creature. I don't think we established getting the barrel of materials.
Well, what we had discussed is Finn thought we were leaving a barrel of more materials to be taken back by the workers once they come back to this place. Now it's safe. We are bringing enough with us to prove to them the coast is clear and we have fell the creatures that were there.
Gotcha.
If they want to help bring these parts back, that's part of our payment. That's our favor that we ask. So yeah, that was Finn's perspective on it. Yeah, because you weren't getting barrels of this shit up a rope ladder. It wasn't going to happen. Right? Okay. I'm willing to argue.
Not without some extra rolls, because Rook's thinking is like, all right, rope ladder, tie a barrel to the rope, dangle the rope off my butt.
What is the
And
name
look,
of the
I
movie?
know it can be done because engineers jump off helicopters with toolboxes strapped to their ankles. So
I'm thinking of the movie with Sean Connery when he played the dragon, and he's taking Kevin Costner through the woods. He's hanging on that rope, and he's just smacking him off of everything. And he goes through that's what I'm thinking. You guys are coming back into the city, and there's like barrels of like plant abomination parts just swinging through the trees and shit. They're like, what is that coming back to the city? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So, but no, better minds prevailed, and that is not what you guys are doing currently. Uh, does anyone have anything they want to accomplish on the airship? If not, I can just have us get back to the city land, and you guys let me know where you want to go from there. Is that good, or what are we thinking?
I am so tempted to make like a cringy joke for Asada, but I
Please
don't think
do.
she'll. I think a part of her may want to joke to the Rosalia, being like, "I'm with child," ha. But she's like doesn't know her that well, so she's just amused to herself, I guess.
I'll give you this, because it's always fun to role play everybody. That's why I don't like fast forwarding. There's always something that can be had. So as you guys are going through, and you're headed back, which is a short trip. It's not very long, mind you. Okay. Because we talked, it's only so many miles away from the place, far enough where they take wagons and go back and forth in a day. It's not that far. These mountains are just a little bit to the, I think they were the southeast of the actual city, if I'm not mistaken. So, as you're going back and you're holding yourself, and you're not real good of the cold either, Azara, just naturally. She notices a couple times you have this thing and you're looking at it and you're kind of looking at it, tapping it, talking to it, or whatever you might be. And she looks over you. She goes, "What is that?" And she's holding the lodestar and she's aiming this thing, and her wind's blowing her thick black hair across her face as she looks over at you sarcastically. It's like, what? What is that?
This hopefully will be my new little companion.
She looks down at that. And she looks at you and she opens her mouth and she goes, "Just got to get paid. I just got to get paid. Good luck with that." And she just continues. She doesn't really have anything to say. She wouldn't have known much about what was going on here other than that doesn't look like a monster. And because she had limited knowledge of what you were doing here. Because Enel wanted us to use discretion. He doesn't want other people to find out that the winery was going through such a hard time. So if I remember correctly, Finn and Rook were kind of vague on some of the finer parts. We had our business, she had ours. We were going to, So she goes, "I just hope whatever you sell that thing for helps pay to have the ice scraped off the side of my vessel."
This one is not for profit. It's a hope that a chance at a better future, but I am sure our employers can settle that for you. If not, I will help structure a strongly worded letter.
As that happens, you guys hit a bit of turbulence and you duck down a little bit and you can feel it kick inside there. And she looks down and Lodestar kind of goes crooked for a minute. And she goes, "Sweetie, everything's for a profit at some point, but I'm sure we can work something out." She yells, and as you guys continue to descend or ascend upwards, up into Skywatch in the top of New Gemdar. Let's see how she lands. Natural 20. Nice. Ice be damned. Rosalia is handling this shit like a top rate airship captain. I mean, she's handling this stuff very well. When certain people come over, there's certain dock workers that are always up there that want to tie off airships and help them in their place. And you recognize the spot that she has there, that has her actual banner, which is the big white eye of the white eyelashes on the blue and silver flag. That's how you guys know which one to pull into. And as you're pulling in, you can see Big Gun Double Duns in the background. He's barking off orders, and they're taking these big war cannons over to Garrick Tierdanen's ship, which is one of the airship captains up here. And he's shouting out orders at them. We must place this exactly as it has been made to be placed. You buffoons in the way, and they're having this conversation as we pull in. It seems to be a big to-do. It's almost like when you're on the interstate, and there's like one of them extra wide loads coming down that has like 5 trucks worth of shit on it. That's the kind of stuff that seems to be going on up in Skywatch right now, as these workers come over to the side and are wrapping up the ropes and helping us dock Roselia's eye. The group exits the ship, and Roselia steps out. She has beautiful long leathered boots that have bronze hooks that connect the front of them and fastenings, and she kind of sets her boot out on the side as the wind blows this large kind of flap of a fur cloak over to the side that she's bundling herself up in, and she brushes the hair out of her eyes, and she goes, I will give you guys till the end of the night to collect whatever money you can for doing the job that you've done. Meet me at the Drunken Mug and we can settle up there. Are we agreeing on this? Finn is nodding without saying words. He goes, that sounds fair. What about the rest of you? You liking this deal?
Good deal as any.
Okay. With that, she goes, I'll see you all there then. And who knows, she might even be able to buy me a drink if you guys make enough off that stuff. And she smiles and winks at you, Aresin, which kind of catches you off guard a little bit. And she kind of laughs sarcastically as she turns around and goes back into the ship and takes a couple of those guys with her and starts barking out orders as they start placing stuff on the ship, as if she's already got another job lined up, and she's glad she got back when she did. The weight of the different crates and stuff rocks the ship in the distance, and you guys are in Skywatch now. Okay? I'm going to say it's about 12:30, just a little bit past midday. Okay? Where would the group like to go first?
Probably to oh my god.
It's okay, just tell me what it looks like and I'll tell you the name. We've only been playing in this world for about 3 years, Jeremy. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, she's only come up like a handful of times.
I know,
Like
Roselia.
we sell the stuff too.
Oh, Wynona.
Heart of the Beast. Yeah.
And who is Wynona again? Works for the Heart of the Beast.
Yep.
Red-headed dwarven woman.
That's the one.
That sounds like Monty Python when they were doing fake women accents.
Yep.
You know, she kind of talks like this. When she talks, she gets upset that she does. It's kind of crazy. I can play it down a little bit.
I do remember the last conversation that we had with her. There was a old boy that come out of the kitchen hollering and hooting, and she put him back in his place.
It's the half. Well, now that we've changed, it's the Bulgarian man that does the butchering and stuff, and he's one that does the muscle, and she's the one that maps out the parts off the creatures that needs to be harvested. The two together act like they used to be a couple that have split, but they still work together. So they're kind of like that, and it's an interesting dynamic. So, and for this life of me, I can't remember what the hell his name was. Don't know. It's in like episode like the early episodes of Plan A. I've lost it. So maybe she'll just call him dumbass or something for now. Who knows? It'll work. We'll role play through it. So, you guys can either go there. You can go to the guild. You could go send some more pigeons off and ravens and whatever if you want to, because you guys discovered that spot. Anywhere you guys want to go, you can go. I'm not going to tell you where to go. Let me know and I'll paint you the pictures. Let me know what you want to do. You got off the ship. Anyone got any ideas?
Asada has a few places on her to-do list that she wants to hit up.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if it's like we have individual spots that we go to, then reconvene at one location at a particular point, or all go from like spot to spot together.
Decide as a group. If you guys want to stick together and see this through, that's going to be expedient. But if you have something personal and private you're willing to deal with, you don't want the others in the group to be a part of, that's something you can do too, because we try to replicate life. People make decisions that way. You've got Wynona and that responsibility there. You want to go back to the fighting spirits and let Enel and his wife, just a minute, Lorelei Brookwater, know what's transpired there and receive your reward. There was also, you might want to catch back up with and see where Lydia's going to be. You might want to talk to Vander and see if you guys can catch up and find out more about one another there. You might want to check up with your father and your brother and sister and tell them how awesome it was to go on the first adventure and what you guys did together, and maybe make a place to keep the creature, maybe in your caravan or something like that. So there's all kinds of places. You just got to tell me where your desire goes. You want to do it as a group, or do you want to split off? I'll let you all decide.
I mean, Aresin for sure would want to check on the status of his pigeon to see if this came back or not. As well as anybody wants to join him, that's up to them.
Okay. What about the rest of you? Because that's so. Let's just say you've suggested that as one of the places you want to go now that you're back. You want to see if the pigeons returned with the messages that you sent. And do you remember what those messages were and who they were off to, Colby?
Yakon Ruin is about him knowing why he's here and where he's from.
Okay, awesome, because I have something planned for that. So that's an easy one. So we'll make that one pit stop. You guys can go as a group or you can go individually. What about you, Bella?
I think I have a thought. I wonder if when
I
we
think
get
you have a thought too.
um
We're friends enough. I can give you shit if I want to. It's just that's just
well,
part of it. It's all good.
that is
Please
perfectly
go.
fine. But the no, I'm trying to think. Um,
What?
I think I think that once we get off the ship, it sounds like we may have a few quick individual errands,
Yeah.
and then we can have a few like group errands. So like I think that an individual errand could be like pigeons, me taking care of where to host the sprout, and then something Jeremy's character, and then collect all. We drop off the monster parts, collect, let them know that the sanctuary has been all good. I may want to get some wine from them for the sprout, and then I guess we head to the guild.
Okay. So let's do that. The group, are you good at this? So let's start with Colby, and then we'll go to Bella, and then we'll go to Jeremy, and then we'll call it a night. Okay, and I'll give you your individual scenes. It's 10 o'clock now. Has everyone got another 15 or 20 minutes in them? Okay, and we'll get through this theatrically, and then when Danny comes in next weekend, if he's able to, he's going to be in, I forget where he told me, but there's a chance he'll be in a hotel room Sunday night. And he's going to bring a handful of stuff, and one of us will have to roll dice for him, but he'll be able to attend, he believes, like 80-90% sure. But if they have him leave early, he won't be able to. So we'll get it figured out. So let's go ahead and start with Colby. Okay. So as you guys do this, I'm going to say you make your separate ways at the top of Skywatch, and you guys go down through Skywell. We've described it a million times. I love freaking Skywell. And everybody makes their way to their respective places. Before you meet up, where was it again you want to meet up when it was done? Did you want to meet up at the Fighting Spirits or the Drunken Mug?
Monster parts.
Oh, You wanted to go to, damn it, Jeremy, now I can't see. You're cursing me. You're cursing me. Why, Jesus Christ. The Heart of the Beast Salvage and Supply. Ran by Gwyneth, correct? Yes, the Centurion lady. And Tamara is there as well. Okay, yes. So, it's contagious. Forgetfulness is contagious. So, Colby, you go back to that place, the literal UPS of the carrier, pigeon, and hawk and falcon delivery service. And then you pay a little extra to have either a falcon or a hawk take your message, or did you just go the basic route and have a pigeon do it?
I just had a pigeon do it.
You cheap ass. You would have. So anyway, as you approach, normally there's that dwarven man that is back behind that place. Okay? It seems like he is not there currently, but there is a scroll that is on front of two wooden shutters that is holding that place closed. That window that he comes to, like that little place, like if you were going up to order food or something, like a drive-through window practically on this tower that he was in. The wooden shutters are there, and there's a scroll, and you see two guards there. Pretty prestigious guards. They have the black and gold armor. With the one has the what looks like the hawk wings on the side. And they both have the pole arms. They have the black and gold flag. It looks very similar to what's on our main screen here. And they seem to be holding a large set of keys. And they watch you as you approach. The one looks at you and says, "It is midday, and the master of the carriers is on an extended lunch." And he says, "But if your name is on the board, please let us know, and we can help you with whatever arrangements you've had made with them, and help you pick up or drop off." And the other one just sits there motionless. Like you can't see but his face, because that beak of the helmet is over top of his eyes and stuff like that. You just see the mouth, and he's unflinching, staring forward like a soldier. What are you doing?
He would see if his name's on the board.
You go up to investigate the board, and as you go down through it on that large scroll paper, it's written down there in fairly fresh ink, you do see your name, and then you see a slash, and you see a set of numbers, and then you can see a signature. This has been the signature of, you can make out Yakon Rue has signed. Okay? So, would you give him that information?
Yes, I would.
Okay. And as you do, he looks at you and he goes, it's that one. You do match the description. Just a moment. And he looks at the other fella, and he gives him a nod, and he hands him the key set. As the militant soldier one walks over, he takes the key set very robotically, goes around to the side of this tower, unlocks the door on the side and goes in, and you can hear different things being moved around left and right and whatnot, and he comes back out, and he has what looks very much like the kind of sack that Yakon Rue always carries on the end of his fishing poles. Okay? If you're used to seeing Yakon Rue walk around, he always has some bamboo poles, at least 3 or 4 of them. He always carries around. He's got different kinds of lures and string on them and stuff. And one almost looks like a hobo sack that he always carries. It's made out of rough, heavy fabric that seems to be Tibetan color, like oranges and reds and things like that, which is kind of the way he adorns himself. And he pulls out a bundle of something like that, and he hands it to the guard that was speaking to you, the one that seems to be the more vocal of the two. He hands that down to him. He leans in, he mumbles a couple soft words, looks over in your direction, and you can't see through the visor, nods, goes back over, takes his position. And the one says, actually very lucky that the birds were even able to bring this one down. It certainly decreased the airspeed velocity of the pigeon. And as you are handed the bundle, he kind of looks at you and holds it out. Do you take it from him?
Yeah, he'll take it from.
He looks at you, and before you take it, he holds it for a minute and he goes, "It is fragile, so use caution when handling it. You'll need to sign the board to say that you've picked up and done your part, and that now it is in your care and your responsibility." And he looks over like that, and you see that the other guard now has presented a quill and is holding it out of an arm that is just solid as steel, holding it there. And you're like, this guy's a fucking robot, right? And he's holding out a quill for you to sign off on your package.
Yeah, I'll take the quill, and sign it off, and then make my way back.
Okay. Do you open up and investigate the package here, or do you take it somewhere else first?
He'll take it somewhere else first to make just to be safe. It's like it was supposed to be like something more secretive.
Or are you going on like a bench near one of the fountains that's kind of frozen over? Or are you going into a local restaurant, or maybe on the front porch of a shop that has an open table, or a back alley? Where are you going?
He'll go to like a table from the shop.
Okay. And there's a lot of those out. And mind you, it's a little bit warmer down here. It's still that time of year, but there's with all the people out, it's not too bad. It's probably in the mid to low 50s here in the city, especially with all the folks. Remember, it's always bustling, always like a fair in here at this time. And when you open this up, there's a scrolled letter there in a bamboo case that has parchment. And as you would pull out that letter, you see that you have two different things here. You have a tea set that's made out of jade and marble. Okay? That seems to be fairly durable. It's got some chips out of it and stuff like that, but it seems like it was nice at one time. And then, on top of that, you also have roll me a history check, please. A religion check, if you will.
15.
Okay, with that, you'd be familiar with this. This seems to be something that clerics and sometimes shaman and stuff like use, and it seems to be some kind of incense burner. So you have a tea set in one hand. It has the pot and the small bowls and things like that. And then you also have an incense burner. It seems to have some kind of thin chain to it, and a bowl that has different decorations and things like that on it, and two chokes and stuff where air can get through on the sides of it. Okay? And then, do you read the scroll?
Yes.
Okay. It is written in Tanima's hand. You're used to his handwriting. It's very, has a lot of, it's very, I gotta tell you the truth. It was funny. I was trying to think of a way of saying it looks like calligraphy, but I was trying to use a descriptive word, and the first thing I could think of is it looks collegiate. Which is not at all what that means. So, yeah, it looks like calligraphy written from some foreign land, and it would contain the following message, Colby. He goes, I'm making this up as I go. I know what I want to say, I just don't know what exactly it's going to read. So if there's a bunch of uhs and ums in this, those aren't written. That's just me. You imagine Tanima with that kind of sarcastic foreign accent goes through. Mind you, his voice is based off of David Lo Pan from Big Trouble in Little China. So bear with me as I stumble through this. It says, so, I wanted to give you the option of choosing one way or the other. In one, you have tea. The tea is very effective. It'll affect you quicker than most. And the other is smoke. almost like a campfire for the soul. Either pathway will work to find me, to find Yakonru. For your mind and your body and your spirit to find their way back to me so we can train as you go out to find out exactly who it is that you are, who you were, and who you're going to be. He says, do not run out quickly and do not burn through this, as what you learn will need to have time to simmer, just like the tea. And if the fire burns too hot, it will all burn up in a bin for nothing, like your temperament. He says, use either one wisely, and we can speak as we spoke before when you entered the trance with us up in the sacred circle in the sanctuary of wrath. If you have any questions, go to tea shop, ask a local. And it just kind of ends abruptly right there. So in that seems to be several ounces of this potpourri, pungent, smelling substance. I'm not saying it's hydro, but I'm not saying it's hydro. Okay, you get what I'm saying? And so what the function of this practically is, Colby, and for the folks that are watching, is this is how you can communicate and train spiritually with Tanima and Yakonru, even if you're miles away, wherever you're adventuring. You sit down, you do a ritual, and on the back side of this, you see the ritual preparations and how to prepare the tea and how much of the incense to burn. And we'll come up with some kind of cool name for this, mystic weed or whatever you want to call it. And this is going to be able to put you in one of those trances to where you're going to be able to train and you're going to be able to learn, because you're going to be able to enter one another's minds using this magical substance. Okay? And that's going to facilitate you becoming a monk even though you're not at the temple. That good?
Yep.
I'll leave it to you to come up with a very clever name as to what this herb is called. And you can even come up with what you want the ritual to look like. Okay? If you're burning this at night and tying it off to a tree and sitting under it and letting the vapors come up, or if you're pouring the tea and wanting multiple people to come in this with you, if you want Rook to go training with you, give him a sip. You'll burn through it quicker. And by the way, you have enough for, if you were to do this, you have enough for 17 encounters of this. So you got some contraband, sir. You better be careful. New Gemdar police are gonna be busting your ass, man. It's like, what's that bulge, sir? So anyway, do you have any questions for me about what you have there?
No.
Okay. I thought that went pretty good for my first, just kind of making that up. I didn't hardly even stutter. Okay, so thank you, Jeremy. I'll take that. Bella, you're up. Are you taking that back to the caravan, or where are you going?
So she is not going back to the caravan as
Okay.
much as she would love to. I think right now she has in her head that she needs to make sure they're safe first. And
Yeah.
like, I think she feels maybe running back interference makes them more of a target, you know? So she's going to the guy who I'm forgetting his name,
What's he
but
look like, and what's he do?
Edward Cullen, armor shot, Elvin.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Begins with an I. Iveron
Yeah.
Starvale. Yes.
Okay. So she's gonna pretty much. The plan is sort of go up first, establish whether or not she could trust him, and have a person as a hub in the city to trust. And she will do that by unmasking and being like in a secure location and being like, judge that response. And then if that is favorable, being like, look, few things to get settled off the board. One, I know you have connections with the Face Sneaker and magical creatures. Maybe it will have some ideas on where we can keep this little baby Sprout.
Okay.
He is a store owner in the city, so he may know magical stores that we can connect the little voodoo doll looking thing to, see if there's maybe a connection to trace or identify where it's coming from.
Okay.
And then just for his eyes in the city to make sure her family's okay when she's out adventuring to try to figure out what's going on, because she's keeping her distance from them for the time being. But first of all, how does he react to her unmasking?
Okay, so here's the thing. We can just go through it, and I can have you roll some rolls, or we can role play through it. How would you like to do it? Do you want to roll charisma to see how persuasive you can be in this, and we'll trade information back and forth, or do you want to do this in character?
We'll do it in character. I was trying to help map out game plan.
Yes. I'm with you. Okay. I'm all good. So you go to Iveron's place of business. I don't have it right in front of me right now, but we know they make elven customs for the people that live here and stuff like that and want a taste of their actual ancestral homes. The Lunestes, the all the different races and sub races of the elves. They work on customs there. And he's told you a little bit of stories. You knew that Iveron wanted to be one of the soldiers, one of the honored guards that stands over the shrine of the warrior saint. I don't know if you remember that conversation with him or not. And then his brother fell. His brother didn't survive and was lost in a battle. And they refused to let him go and fill his brother's shoes because he has a responsibility to the shop. And the Face Sneakers, you understand that. So, as you arrive, roll me a 1d20.
Hold on. So pull it up again. I was like, oh no, I don't have to roll anymore. Let me close out of this. 4.
4. You are nothing but consistent. I'll tell you that. So, a 4. When you arrive at the Jeremy's like, oh God. All the pipes have burst, it's flooded. When you arrive at the shop, it is quiet in there. The business signs, they are open, but when you go in, you can see a female, which seems to be maybe a younger sister to Iveron, walk across, and she's walking heavily footed like an upset waitress at a restaurant. And you can see Iveron's father in the back carving out something, and it seems like he's doing a railing that would come down a curved stairwell, and he's carving into it to make it look like actual real trees and stuff are reaching up and making it natural and stuff like that. And when you analyze everything that's going on, Iveron is picking up some pieces of broken wood off of the ground. Okay? Roll an investigation check.
I rolled an 18, and I haven't added anything to that yet.
Okay. You see him look up at you, and Iveron looks angry. And he immediately takes a breath and tries to soften his expression when you lock eyes with him, as to not wanting to bring you into whatever it is that he's going through. And with that high of a roll, you will see that he has worked on some kind of personal plaque, or somebody has something with his handiwork on it. And it has been broken and it's on the ground, and he's picking up the pieces of it. The father is in the distance not even turning a shoulder to you walking in, the sister has stormed off. And that is the scene you're walking into right now. And even higher than that, you will see the Fey Sneaker over in the corner with its tail wrapped up around one of the side tables, looking out from behind the leg of the place with caution, like something has just went down in here. Okay? And then it looks at you, and it's like, and it pins its eyes down and begins to look at you not nice. And curls back into the shadows underneath the table. Back far enough where you can just see the reflection in the silver blue glow of its eyes under the shadow of the table, and it's kind of looks like it's hiding but staring at you. It smelled something on you. Go ahead.
So I think that I'm going to help him collect the.
There it is!
So, sorry about that.
It's fine. People sneeze. It's cool, man.
Help him collect. I
The
feel
pieces?
it in my nose.
It's going to happen again, isn't it? Are you a
I
repeat
feel it
offender?
in my nose, but it's like not at a point when it's at a sneeze. I just feel the whispers of a sneeze in my nose.
You'd be surprised if you end up blowing snot, man. I can edit it out. I can work magic with this video equipment. It's perfectly.
Okay. All right, good to know. So she's gonna collect up all the pieces and be like, I think we both need a quiet place to talk real quick.
He looks at you, and when you see it, you can see elven writing, and you can see what looks like a half-broken carving of a male elven person's face.
So
And
what I am intending her to do is once they get to a location away from his dad, she's gonna cast mending and put it back together.
oh, fucking sweet. Good call, man. He looks at you and he goes, yes, I could definitely use a choice words of break right now. Will you join me? And he picks up all the different pieces, and you have some in your hands too. And he's always very humble. He's almost like a country boy in the way he's humble. We've discussed this too. He's always very formal. And he looks at you, and he's got that long, fiery red hair that actually has orange and white highlights in. His hair looks like he has the element of fire in him, although it's not archaic. It looks natural, like we've discussed. And he looks at you, and he's kind of, you can see he's tensing up. You can see his jaw muscles kind of forming and flexing. And he says to you, he goes, or he says over you, over his father, he goes, going to go take an early lunch. I didn't figure you would mind so much. I'll come back for whatever it is that we need to finish up later. Father doesn't even look up, just continues working on carving. And you can hear that in that moment, that carving got a little bit louder. Like he was digging in a little deeper. And if that, he turns around and he goes, come on. Come on. And he looks, and the face sneaker won't come from underneath the table. And he's like,
I think that what I have to tell you may relate to why it's not being super friendly to me. So I'll take these, and she takes the rest of the pieces of the whatever, and I will meet you outside. And she pops outside.
he just stops and he's curious. And he nods slowly. And as you walk out, he joins you out on the front patio of this place that's covered, as many of them are here. And he walks out and he shuts the door and he's like, "That, I'm sorry. I know he likes you. I don't have an explanation. A lot just happened. I can't. We all have our temperaments and we all have our baggage. How can I help you?"
I really hope I don't add to your bad day.
I need a distraction.
This will be distracting. So there is a lot of things in the works currently, and a lot of it I don't fully quite understand yet, but
Just step forward. And he goes, "Are you in danger?"
I am not in danger. There's just many things occurring, but I need to know that I can trust you before I ask your assistance on a variety of things. And just so you fully understand, if afterwards you want no part in anything that's occurred or so on, I completely understand.
And before you finish that, he holds his hand up and he's like, this is unnecessary. Just tell me what's going on, Azara. I'm right here."
So I think what she's going to do is, again, checking to make sure the area is secure a bit.
You're going to show him your cabbage, aren't you?
Huh?
You're going to show him your cabbage, aren't you?
I don't know how to answer that question or that statement.
I'm
bro.
sorry. I just thought that would be funny. But go ahead. What is it you're doing? Because now he's curious. He's like, what in the hell is going on? Like, he's being very polite. And are you still holding this large thing awkwardly on your person? He would start to notice that at this point. You know what? That's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm saying. He's just kind of looking at you now, and he notices he's just now starting to realize that you have something underneath of your, and he doesn't know what's going on.
So this is part of the reason, probably a potential reason to why our sneaker friend is not too happy with me currently. But the thing I want to talk about first is, and she's going to pop off her mask, full Dareblin form. Ta-da.
He looks at you for a long moment, and you don't know what he's going to say. Hold on. Oh. It's longer than a second. And I want to make sure you're getting this, that this could go either way. And there's that moment where you're taking that deep breath, like you can't help but be like, oh no. Oh no. Right? And when he looks at you, he takes a step closer and he looks down and he looks to the right and to the left, and he looks back up at you and he softly says, "May I?" And he holds his hand up like this. and he's raising his eyebrows up, and he's being very polite, and he's pointing at these curled, awesome pearl-like horns that you have that come off the back of your head. And he's just, he's not touching, but he's like just, like his hand's hovering, and he's looking, and he's staring at them and your hair. What are you saying?
So I think she doesn't say anything. It's kind of just that quiet sort of like, and almost like, you know, like if you see like videos of like deer, kind of the hesitant poke down.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
Okay, interesting. When you do that, his hand recoils a bit, and he looks away, and he takes a deep breath, and he looks back at you, and he says, only in books. And he looks at you and he smiles, but it's kind of, he cracks a smile, then it goes straight again, and cracks another smile as if he's a little kid that is looking at something that's pretty, but he doesn't know if he should be scared or not. Does that make sense? He's going through that kind of thing, and he looks at you, and he's smiling, and he looks into your eyes, and he goes, Azara, is this who you are?
Yes, and I am recently exploring that in a more open way than I ever have before, and I am terrified. But
he's shaking his head back and forth, like when you say terrified, he's like in a little bit of disbelief about that. Like he's like, no, you know, he's shaking his head back and forth a little bit. Please continue. He's not talking. I just wanted to throw it in as it goes.
I'm terrified, and I've been hiding for a very long time, more than I think I realized I should have been doing. And I want to trust people as I am, and I value you and who you are and what you stand for, and I want...
He smiles and puts his hand up, and he goes, I have to get something. Wait, right, don't move. Okay? Don't move, and don't change. Wait right here. Okay? Okay. And when he thinks that you're not going to move, he walks past you and he goes back inside for a minute and shuts the door. And you hear him run upstairs. Okay? A few minutes pass, and as you're standing on the front porch of this place, looking as you do now, in front of this elven crab's place, and you're just now learning a little bit about the history of who you are and what you've meant to people, but you don't know all the different stories about your race versus other races and their conflicts, their interests, their liking or dislikes of other. That's some things that you're realizing now that you and Lydia haven't discussed really so much. You just really discussed about you and how you got here. You don't know what people think of your kind. You're not quite sure. It seems to be hidden, but as you stand there and you see people going back and forth, you see a couple whisper and look at you and stare at you for just a minute as they walk by. And then there's another one, a guy that walks by, and he looks at you and he's almost looking at you seductively like, nice. And then you have different kinds of clusters of people that go by. There's several guards on horses that go by, and one of them looks over in your direction through that visored helmet that gives a little bit longer look. And as you're getting sucked into all these expressions, that are looking at you being in this real version of yourself. You didn't even realize it, but you hear the floor creak beside you, and Iveron is standing beside you. And he has something that you didn't expect. He has a set of wind chimes. They are made of granite polished stone, and it hangs on an arcanic symbol made out of finely crafted wood that almost could be wore almost like a tiara. And the silver chains that come down off this seem to be elven made. Okay? And hanging from these chimes are horns polished and carved out of granite that are hollow in the center, almost like a horn that you would call like you would do signals with. And they hang off this thing in wind chimes. And as the wind comes through here, and these chimes, these horns, smack into each other and make these different sounds, it is one of the most beautiful things, one of the most primal things you have heard in recent memory. And he looks at you, and he's looking at the horns off the back of your head, and he's just smiling. He goes, I got it right.
There's a part of me that wants to think of this as a sweet sort of thing, but the more part of my brain is terrified right now.
Well, we're going to end there.
Gross.
So this is, these are handcrafted. These are made for possibly someone like you or similar to you to be a reminder of home. Now, you remember that Liga said to you that you all used your horn to communicate and things like that deep down in the homelands that they were from. That these echoes and these chimes and the vibrations that are caused from your horns are the way that people would communicate over vast distances back home in these beautiful sounds. So these wind chimes, I know what you're saying, but just hear me out. But these wind chimes are made to replicate some of those beautiful sounds. They're almost carved and made out of this granite-like material to almost be like in different keys, like different musical notes, like each different one, the lengths of them, the shape of them. And when that wind goes through here and clings those together, you hear this music from them that is familiar. You hear this in the first time of recent memory, and you just get this rush of these same sounds, like your ears have wanted to hear this for so long. You were made to hear this. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Can I present something in addition to that?
Absolutely.
Of how he comes running down of, don't change, I'll be right back. He runs upstairs. She's getting like bombarded with all these people looking at her, and she's like, oh no, I'm being judged. There's something up with me. And he comes down with the horn thing. And my immediate thought was like, oh my god, he's cut off the horns of Jar Evelyn and is just coming down and psyched about it. But there's a part of her that's like, Jesus. Wow, that's soothing, but also sheer terror at the same time.
Well, I knew that. That's what's hard to describe sometimes in roleplay, but I hope you get the gist of this now. Yeah. And that little bit of awkwardness is good. That it should be something that crossed your mind. But when you see that these are carved and this is a more of a wind chime made for your people, it's an interesting thing here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And I want to end that scene there with you. Then we'll do one more thing, then we'll wrap this up. Jeremy, what are you doing again?
We'll be going to the Heart of the Beast to sell what we've got to Wynona and kind of let her know the situation of what was left over.
Okay. As you do, and you head out to the Heart of the Beast, and then we'll end it after this one. Okay, Jeremy? You go in, the door's open. Okay. You can smell candles burning. You can smell the smell of burning bone, like it's been sawed, or that heat, that kind of smell that comes from things being cut in that fashion. Like if you had saws cutting on bone, you get that little bit of burnt smell. And you can hear work going on behind the large rolling doors that roll on wheels to the far right side, like the warehouse doors, once you go into this place. From the back hallway, Tamara walks out. And Tamara is not dressed like a warrior in this instance. She has on, I want you to roll me a history check real quick. She has a 10, 15 would have told you a lot, but 10 would have told you something. She has some kind of robe on that is symbolic of an event. You don't know if it's clothes to mourn or if it's in some kind of... It's not like festive, like gown clothes, like you don't go out dancing in. This is some kind of sacred attire that she has on, and it represents a large white sword. It's a vestment from the white swords of the north, okay? But it is a ceremonial like garb, and that's not what you would have expected from the person that you met here before. Her beauty once again strikes you as she walks out, and we've described she looks a lot like what's her name, the blonde-haired actress we talked about before, played Clarice Theron. Yeah, that's who she looks like. That's who she looks like a lot. And when she comes out through there, she has her hair done up in long braids, very tight to her head. She looks a lot more formal and polished than the weary battle maiden that you saw sitting on the table, reflecting on past battles when you were here last time before you left. Okay? She's done up formally for something that she needs to do with etiquette and poise. And she looks at you and she goes, "You're back sooner than we had expected. Wynona's actually out. We were getting ready to close for the day. We've got..." And she stops and her mouth hangs open and she stares past you. "We have matters to attend to, and we won't be open for the remainder of the day. Can this wait, or is it something you need to have resolved now? We, forget that. This is more important. So you're back here. Obviously things went well."
They did, for the most part.
And she looks like to the right and left of you, and she looks at the doorway. She goes, "And the materials that your Lunesti friend said he would be bringing to Wynona, they need collected? That is extra, if that's the case."
There was some that we left there, simply because the logistics standing, we couldn't bring them onto the ship with us. I have brought back a little bit myself. If you were to write me some sort of missive indicating that we can handle this in the morning, then by all means, I can take this back to Roselia, and she'll understand that her payment will come in the morning.
Of course, and she kind of holds her fingers to her face, and she goes over behind the large work bench where people come and leave their waivers and stuff like that, and she's going through, and she ducks down. And you can say if this place has been cleaned, there's no sign of Gwyneth, there's no sign of anybody in here but her, in this large place. And mind you, it's accommodating. It's got rooms for people up top, to stay in when they bring big bounties, so they can at least stay the night, like a lodge kind of place, and then leave. Remember the 2 large stairways that go up, the different respective hallways. And when she stands back up again from behind the bar, behind the work counter, she throws that book on there, and she starts flipping through, and she grabs a certain color ribbon, opens the page to it, and starts flipping through and looking here. And she goes here, unclassified. That's what Wynona's put down here. If you have her fill out another page, she'll love you forever. She's always looking to add new creatures or whatever it might have been to her book and to her knowledge of the world, as it were. She looks back down. She's going through the literature, and she talks about the payment. And she kind of looks, and she raises an eyebrow. She goes, "We didn't discuss that." And she raises an eyebrow to you, Rook, and she goes, "But Wynona knows what she obviously knows what she's written in here." She gets out a piece of paper and signs it and starts writing down some literature on it and stuff like that. And when she does, she rips it from the other pieces of paper and folds it up, takes one of the candles off of the counter, and puts the stamp, which looks like a centaur or a centurion woman from the top up, like a coin shape that has long waving hair and a large pole arm, is what the actual piece looks like. And she seals it, and she goes to you. She goes, "That should work as a note for the amount that you're owed from the Heart of the Beast Salvage and Supply on behalf of Gwyneth and myself." She left out a name, and you could tell she paused on it because she wasn't ready to. And she, would there be anything else you'll need from us? I do have business I must attend to.
Well, by all means, do what you must. This missive is all that I need to get us through the evening.
She gets very proper and gives you a nod. Closes the book. She goes back down. She goes, "We look forward to seeing you back in here again. Business is, there's a lot of processing to be done. We've recently come back from a venture, and we have a lot of work and a lot of growing. Come back to us if something of this nature you come across again. We could definitely use, there are pages that could be filled." Is there
Very
anything
well.
else?
He'll nod, like he'll kind of eyeball her for a moment, but he'll nod and kind of go on his way. In his head, like that transmission from her being battle ready to this kind of, I guess, kind of speaks to him in a way that you almost forget who someone is when they're not in dented up armor.
Yeah, right.
So I think it's to a point that becomes their identity, and then once they've gone out from that, it's like a whole new person.
As you turn to leave, you walk out the front door and you see Gwyneth, the centurion, the one with the long white and steel gray hair, in full ceremonial garb, as if she is dressed up like a paladin, with her pole arm hanging from her side and the flag of New Gemdar draped across her right shoulder, almost like a half cape with the black and gold over her right shoulder, almost like a matador wears their cape before they go into battle. And her hair is done up in a similar braid, and she looks at you. She gives you a long, knowing look and kind of nods. And she doesn't say anything, and she looks back up at the front porch, and Tamara steps out, takes a deep breath, and gives her a nod, and walks past you. and goes to her side. And Gwyneth is holding out her hand. And the two join hands before they walk off. And Tamara turns over her shoulder to say something. And she looks over her shoulder into your eyes, Rook. And her eyes are somewhat, they're misty. But it's not breaking. You know what I'm saying? And she says to you, do yourself a favor. Always come back when you say you're going to. There's no bounty worth losing yourself over. And when she says that, Gwyneth says, Tamara. She goes, no. It needs to be said. Do you hear me, warrior? No bounty's worth it. And she has a stern look and she just turns her gaze away from you. Lets go of the hand of Gwyneth, and the two walk down the road slowly together from the shop. And on that note, we'll end for tonight. Okay? Lots of interesting stuff going on, people. I'm going to stop these recordings because I know you guys will probably have a few questions and stuff, and we'll really get into it next time. Really looking forward to see where this all goes with this group. There's so many interesting things going on. And Plan A paved the road for you guys to have a world full of cool shit. And that's fun for me to do that. Half of this is planned, half of it wasn't. You're the ones who told me where you wanted to go. I didn't make it up for you. So we'll go ahead and end. Once again, thanks for showing up Sunday to watch this with us. Sorry you guys had to stay on here for this long, but I felt it was worth it. It just kind of rolled by. The last hour just flew by. So, Brian Kynes, Bella Colby, Jeremy, thanks guys, and we'll see you next Sunday. Take care.